Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gems Before Friends. I'm Mockingbird here with my lovely co host, Queen AMG
Hello.
and Morbid Plum.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about a very recent topic
hmm
of the consultant program that got announced recently. And also, along with that, we're going to talk about the Fog Whisperer program and Twitch shirts. So, we're going to kind of put this all together. And I know we've been thinking about talking about Fog Whispers for a while, and now is the perfect time with this consultant program being announced.
All the tea going
Lots
down.
of
Oh
tea.
yeah.
It's gonna get a
Pour
little.
yourselves a cuppa and settle down.
Piping hot.
It's very hot. There's gonna be a lot of ranting. I think there's gonna be ranting towards the end. If you're into that,
I'm
that's
pretty
what.
sure it's probably their favorite part of the podcast,
Oh yeah.
to be honest.
Here's the tea. But before we get to the tea, I think it's important that we define what each of these
Yes.
programs are. So we'll kind of lay the foundation and then
Yeah.
kind of dissect what is going on. I guess it's been this past week. The consultant program was announced, and really not an official announcement from Behavior, but if there were content creators that were consultants, they had the choice to announce that they're a consultant. Through all the confusion, he's one of the community managers for Behavior, made a post on it. So let's start by reading the post about the consultant program. He says, "Hey folks, I see a lot of questions and confusion, so I'm going to do my best to clear up as many as I can about the program itself. This program is not new. It has existed since shortly after the game's release. Previously, consultants were not able to confirm they were part of the group without breaching their NDA. We have recently restructured the program and allowed members to say that they are members. Consultants are asked for opinions on upcoming changes and invited to close playtests where they can give feedback. While the program itself is now public info, the details of what they are playtesting and or giving feedback on are not. Please do not ask them what's going on in there. They cannot tell you. There is no public list of all consultants, nor do we plan to share one. We leave it up to each person to decide if they are comfortable disclosing it, as it could attract unwanted attention and or scrutiny. So about consultants and requirements. Consultants do not need to be content creators. While some are, others are not. There is no application process. We select and invite people who would be a good fit for the program and fill the needs when we have in terms of experience with specific aspects of the game. Being selected as a consultant is not simply a reward for being a diehard fan. Consultants are contractors who are paid and have certain responsibilities. Consultants have varying experience. Example, killers they've mastered, preferences, play styles, and skill levels. So about the consultant's role and responsibilities. Consultants must participate in closed playtests. Inactive consultants would be removed from the program and replaced with someone who is able to participate. It is a consultant's duty to give feedback on upcoming changes that are presented to them. Consultant feedback is used to help make informed decisions, but it is not the sole deciding factor. We need to keep in mind that consultants are highly experienced players and that their impressions may not always align with the wider community, though they often do. Consultants do not come up with balance changes and are not responsible for how things turn out. It falls on us to decide what needs to be acted upon. So please do not harass consultants if there is a change you do not like. Consultants are not QA. It is not their responsibility to test the game and find bugs. Qualities we look for in consultants, among other traits: trustworthy as they are given information early, a wide range of experience within the game, and ideally experts in certain areas, able to provide constructive feedback, able to maintain a civil discussion with people who have differing opinions, able to set aside biases when given giving feedback, or acknowledge that their biases may be influencing their opinions. Most importantly, none of this means that your feedback doesn't matter. This program helps us gather feedback for changes early on in development and make adjustments before they are revealed. Once they hit PTB, feedback from the wider community is just as important. So that was Peanut's post on the consultant program. And so just to kind of emphasize, this is not new. Even though it was just announced, it's not new. And we're going to talk about, there's two content creators that have said they are consultants, which is Hens and Otofu. And I know Otofu has played this game since the beginning, and he has stated that he has been a part from the very beginning. So not a new program. They're just letting those that are involved be able to say they are in it. So it's kind of like they're announcing the program, but not quite announcing the program.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's like, hey, we went public, but that's it.
We went public.
But it was there all along.
It was there all along.
The man behind the curtain.
Pretty
Exactly.
much. The other part to talk about is Fog Whispers, which we love Fog. We have a lot of people we watch that are Fog Whispers, so no
we
hate on the Fog.
Fog Whisper.
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
but basically the role of the Fog Whisperer program is to promote DBD. And I think there has been some confusion on their role because many people, I think us included, but even Fog Whispers themselves thought they would have more influence on the game. They would have their opinion heard more, but that is not the case. That's not part of the role. I guess let's put it this way. As part of the role of a Fog Whisperer is to promote the game. So Fog Whispers typically get org cells for free, and they get codes to share with their community for upcoming chapters. Like we'll probably see, Fog Whispers giving out for the D&D chapter, giving codes. And that's how they get those codes, is they get them from behavior. And also the Fog Whisperers may be included in promotional stuff for behavior. Like they recently came out with the anniversary video where they went through like all the years, and you saw some content creators in there. Those are Fog Whispers. So you might get put in promotional material. I'm sure during the anniversary, like live stream, we'll see some more clips of Fog Whispers. So that's kind of it for Fog Whispers, at least as far as I'm aware of. They basically are promoting the game. And I believe there's probably some limitations on how much they can criticize the game along with that.
Well, I mean, if you're promoting the game, they want you to be saying nice things about the game.
Yeah. So if you want to be able to speak freely about the game, you probably don't want to be a Fog Whisperer. I think they have lined up a little bit on what you can say about the game. Like you can critique the game, but you can't go out, dissing the game. If you behave inappropriately, you can be removed as a Fog Whisperer. There have been people that have been removed from the Fog Whisper program for inappropriate behavior and comments. So you can be removed. Behavior will remove you if you do not act, I guess, within their guidelines of what they find appropriate. And then the last part I want to mention is Twitch shirts, because this is also another promotional thing. It's not exactly like a full program, but it's something DBD offers and that you can, I guess, kind of apply for. In the past, I think you could apply for shirts. You'll see a lot of streamers put like hashtag shirt my survivor in their channel, or not their channel, their stream title. And that's to kind of get on behavior's radar of like, give me shirts. Recently, they just gave out shirts, but they did it differently. This is the first time they've done this. They actually let Fog Whispers choose who got the shirts and give out codes for Twitch shirts. So that was different. And there's some pros and cons to that, which we'll talk about. But typically in the past, behavior would select Twitch streamers and give those out. And it's kind of like the Fog Whisper program. Apparently you can lose those as well. which we could talk about.
You
also.
can lose everything.
You can lose everything.
It's all fleeting.
It's all, yeah. It's like it comes with conditions, apparently. So that's kind of the basis of the consultants, the Fog Whispers, and Twitch shirts. Let's get into the tea, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into our thoughts on all of this, I guess. And I feel like we have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of questions too,
I think
yeah.
it's this, I think all this tea is gonna be like going through the questions and like WTF
And thoughts.
everything. Like yes, thoughts. So why announce the consultant program now? I think is kind of my first question because this is old.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is old. This game is going on year 8. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's been around that long.
Yes.
So 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was like the game?
The game.
That was the consultant program.
They said it was shortly after
shortly after
the game's release. And I mean, I'm glad they have playtesters. Like I think we were talking about like during the Chucky release, they did the live stream and they had one of their playtesters on. But I took that as a employee of behavior, not like a content creator.
Same.
So like a developer that play tested the game and they were playing with like Otts and I can't remember who else. Because I remember commenting like, "Oh, look, they do test this game."
Yeah, they do have like QA. Like,
yeah.
If anyone has seen Grandma's Boy, that was what I thought. The movie Grandma's Boy. That is what I thought playtesters were. They just worked for the company. They playtested the game, and they were probably developers.
Well, that's what I would have thought too, because we've always questioned like, who's testing this? When stuff goes to PTV, all weird and broken, we're like, did y'all not test this? Did y'all not try this out? Hopefully, devs are testing it out, but now we know they have this consultant program. It's 8 years, almost 8 years into the game, and they're announcing this. And so, what is the point of announcing this and letting consultants have the freedom to say they're a consultant? Now, they can't talk about what they've consulted on in the past or what they will be consulting on. And they're getting a charm. They're getting the crow with like sunglasses charm. So if you see that charm, like Tofu's posted an image, Hens has posted an image of it if you want to go see it. I don't know why you'd want to put that on and put a target on your back, but
just like Twitch shirts, like
it's like Twitch shirts.
Or a Twitch charm.
This might be even deadlier than Twitch shirts.
Yeah.
So if you see a survivor, or a killer with
a charm,
you might get harassed.
I've seen on some like Twitter posts that this was a April Fool's joke. Well, the charm is originally supposed to be for April Fools. I don't know if that's true, and they just tied that to it. So
because it does look like Adam has the head cosmetic with these kind of pixelated glasses.
The meme glasses.
The meme
guys,
glasses.
Everyone knows. The meme glasses.
They're like the pixelated meme glasses. So that's what's on this crow. And then like Adam has that. I can't remember if that was an April Fool's cosmetic or not, but it's it's a goofy cosmetic either way.
It could also just be a cover up that it leaked. So they're like, "Oh, April Fools," but it was actually part of
that's what I was thinking too.
The program.
Do you think
a conspiracy
behavior is trying to make themselves look better after the whole Twins rework debacle?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So a big thing that we've talked about since the very beginning of the podcast is we would like more transparency from behavior, right?
Yes.
We're confused as to why these updates are coming out, and it doesn't show that they have knowledge of the working mechanics of the game. And we're like, why aren't you using your Fog Whispers? Why aren't you using your community? How come nobody reached out to Linksy for Twins to playtest? Like, we've been confused about that. And I feel like this is all of, hey, we've had this program all along. And now we're going to let people, if they want to talk to you about it, say that they're a part of it. So we've been listening to you guys. We've had this program all along, which in itself is not transparent behavior. Maybe I need to pull up a dictionary and read the definition of transparency.
Yes, what is Webster's thing?
Yeah, to have your community for so long being like, we don't feel like we're being heard, and you're not engaging with the community and using your community, to make the game better, because we all love it, right? We want this game to have longevity and be around and be the best possible versions of self it can be, right? And now I feel like they're all like, we've been doing what you've been asking for all along, but you didn't tell us.
Yeah.
And there was no indication that the program's even using, because if anyone looks at the twins, right? And again, we don't know who consulted on it, what they did, what questions they asked, nothing. But if you just look at that in itself, I can't see how anybody could have consulted on that and how anybody would have given behavior, I don't want to say the go ahead, but would have given behavior the advice that, oh, yeah, that's good to go to PTB. Nobody. And then that means, like, okay, so they have this program. Are they not listening to their consultants then?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that
Or
up.
are their consultants also out of touch with what the community wants?
I
So-
mean, we know Tofu and Hens are part of this consultant program,
Yes.
and they're both very knowledgeable in
They
the
are.
game. So I can't
Mhm.
see them looking at the twins rework and being like, "Yeah, this is
Oh,
great."
Yeah.
I'm sure
for
they
it.
provided feedback. So now I'm getting more of the impression that they don't listen to that. They wanted to push this through. Obviously, they've been working on the twins rework for years, right?
Yeah. From what
So-
they've told us.
Yeah. Well, they kind of announced it and they're like, yeah, we're working on this, working on this. Like at least 2 years of them working on this rework. And actually, oh, Queen, we watched that video with Scott Junn and he brought up the
Yes.
fact, remember, like,
Mhm.
you should have these consultants come in when you're at the drawing board with the idea.
Exactly.
Not,
Yes.
I think what's happening, part of it is that DVD is, I'm going to guess, this is all speculation because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't
Obviously.
know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
They're play testing stuff. So they are not being consulted like when the idea is like,
Coming into
Yeah.
fruition.
yeah. So like if they
Yes.
were like looking at the twins rework and they're like, behavior's like, wouldn't it be great if Victor could just double tap survivors and down them within 10 seconds? That would be great, right? Instead of him latching on to survivors, you know, them throwing out, here's the idea of how to rework him. What do y'all think about that idea before it
Yeah.
even gets programmed into the game, into a play test? Do
Save
y'all
time,
think
save
this
money. Yeah.
work? Do you think this will work? And maybe that's been the problem in the past too, because Twins Rework is not like the only broken thing that has come through. Obviously, it's the most recent thing. So we're probably going to reference that one. But like, there's been other stuff that's been broken. And I'm just like, they must not be listening. They should consult from the very beginning. Is this a good idea? Right? We want to make this change. Do you think it's a good idea? And if it's an idea and it's kind of like on the fence, like we're not really sure, maybe, then they can kind of develop it and play test it. But if everyone's like, no, that's a terrible idea, why would you want Victor to be able to like down people immediately, right? If everyone's like, no, that won't work, then maybe they shouldn't do it. But I think they're not coming in till like it's already been in development for years, right? Like twins. They're playtesting it. But even if these consultants are playtesting it and they say, no, this is broken, like this twins rework is broken, it's obviously they didn't listen and it went to PTB anyways. And it wasn't until all the outcry of like the whole community and all the videos made on it from, you know, all the content creators being like twins OP, Linksy testing it for like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Linksy played it with like no add-ons, no perks, like, and destroyed everyone with twins. So it's like, I don't know if they're utilizing it.
Or utilizing it in an effective manner, because same thing. Like if you come in and play something that's already like, we're going to drop this to PTB, they're not really going to have time to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like as Scott said, as you said, as we believe, it really starts at the drawing board when you're like, we have these ideas. Is it something that is executable in the game and makes sense? Because you also get like, you know, as you're reading what the consultant program is, there is a mention of, you know, maybe someone has opinion which does not align with the community.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't think Behavior's opinion was aligning with the community. And I think what happened is it was a, you know, F around and find out situation where they found
Yeah.
out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that's part of them coming to light, like, we've had this all along. And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, no one feels like it's there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, like, the only ones I think we know about right now are Hens and O Tofu, and we watch their content, we love their content. But at the same time, when you also look at just YouTube videos that have been put out, there's nothing that, of course, I haven't watched all the videos. There's nothing that shows constructive criticism on what's happening either. So that also makes me wonder is how much are they allowed to say outside of the program? Because,
Mm-hmm.
tons of creators came out and made videos are like, hey, this is not working. How this even get to PTB? Please saying that you're going to fix this. And I'd be curious to see if any other people came out, what their content is. Like, are they having those constructive criticism videos? Or is that also part of maybe like the NDA? Can they not do that? Can they do that? Because I don't know. As someone who works in a QA environment, a big part of that when someone's coming to you and you have to test something or you have to build something from the ground up is having the knowledge to see things from all angles and to be able to say like, hey, that won't work, or this will work only if you do XYZ. So I'd be curious to see how it's doing, because right now, if I'm looking at this from like that technical aspect, I'm confused as to the positives that this program has had. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
tell me what this program did to, benefit the community at large. Been keeping it a secret. Was Hens part of, did Hens come out with like, hey, Hens mentioned this and we implemented it and it's great. You all love it. Cool. Tofu said this and we implemented it and you guys love it. Oh, that's amazing. Tell us what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use any of their ideas? Because if not, if they're just in there, essentially extra playtesters, and their ideas aren't being used, and then they can't create content off of it, what's the point of the program?
I'm also curious because in this post, it says that they select the consultants, but they're not
Yes.
all content creators. So I'm very
Yes.
curious. I would love to know, which
Mm-hmm.
we probably won't find out. How do they pick people that are not content creators? How do they go? Do they just like peruse Steam for people or something? Like, how do you
Yeah.
pick? Because there's no application, so you can't sign up for this program. So how do they seek out? I'm just thinking about like we play the game, right? Like
Yeah.
if they were to find us and be like, hey, you want to be a consultant? Like, how would they have done that? Like, how do they
Yeah.
seek out people that
They
are
have to be
not,
known somehow.
I
You
guess,
have
on
to be
Twitter or
engaging with the
something?
behavior. Yeah.
Maybe, but it's kind of weird because how would you know what their level of experience is if they main a certain killer? You know what I mean? Like, on Steam, you can really see what my achievements, my number of
Hmm.
hours. I mean, some people can put people put screenshots and stuff out there. So you can put extra information out there. But it's like, I'm just curious because it says that they're not all content creators. So I imagine they have some casual players and, of course, very experienced players. I just like, how do they pick these people?
Like a referral thing. Like, hey, I'm a big player, but my friend pays casually. Here they go. Like, again, it doesn't make sense because if you don't have some type of social media presence, you're not engaging, you're not tagging behavior,
Mm-hmm.
you're not creating some type of content for it. I just don't think, I don't know, unless they're actually like in the games, playing games, and they're like, oh, I like this person's style. I'm gonna send them a message.
Yeah.
like I don't know, which is kind of weird in itself. Like they're handpicking these people. There has to be a reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that you would want to have engaged with that person more than once
Mm-hmm.
or have consumed their content to decide if that's a good fit based on what they're looking for. Like they said, obviously they want maturity, emotional, mental maturity, act like an adult, right? To do stuff like this. But in order to know that stuff, you have to engage.
I don't know,
So,
because on Hen's posts, I guess one of the what does she say she was? Lead community manager for community development on Dead by Daylight. She commented like, "Oh, we're so thankful that you're part of the process." And then people were asking her like, "Oh, how do I join?" And she just said there's no application
Yeah.
process and that they're handpicked. But then someone who is she's on Twitter, she's Stormy, Deaf Girl Gaming. She said that a huge help is giving positive, constructive feedback during PTB or live games, and then discussing things that you would love to see fixed and help showcase who you are as a person. She said that's how she got picked, but I don't know how she managed to do that, because she says she's a consultant on her Twitter. I don't
Okay.
know if that's true. She could be claiming she is, so I don't know. I
She
mean, I'm
might
not trying
be.
to call her.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
Yeah.
to call her out. I'm just saying she
S-
commented, and it was interesting to see like people say, "Oh, this is how you did it," but
It
we have
sounds
no
like
clue.
it sounds like she sucked up and like got a job. That's what it
Exactly, right?
sounds like.
Like
No offense to
that's
her. I don't know her, but
yeah,
that's just from that
yeah.
comment. That's
I'm
like
not
I said positive things about you,
In
and
that
then you gave me a
case,
job.
I only
exactly.
have
Yeah.
one question. If that is the case, someone who gives consistent, constructive criticism on the game, someone who knows the game, someone who speaks well, someone who has an emotional, mental maturity, is Otts in the program.
No,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
No.
so
not.
that blows my mind.
No, because we talked. Remember, we
Yeah,
talked about Otz's video about how he was
yeah,
like, "I'm not making any more videos about like how to
yeah.
change the game." That
Yeah.
video confirms he is not a consultant. That he makes so many videos on how to improve the game, so he's definitely not a consultant.
He'd be the
Like,
one person. If I had a game and I had someone like Otts playing my game, he has a whole website, guys, on perks and how things work together and times, how long it takes to do stuff. Excel sheets galore. The man's a master in Excel.
Yeah.
Um,
is he
really,
speaking your
I
language?
yes, yes.
Excel
The
spreadsheet.
the technical nerd in me just loves it.
Right. The moment you
His
give me data,
streams
I'm
are
just like,
fun.
oh.
10 out of 10 humor. Someone who's passionate about the game and wants to see it grow, right?
Yeah.
Genuinely wants this game to have longevity. I would just, in an instant, be like, yeah, I need you because you understand mechanic wise how things are going. And if you want someone there to be there from the beginning, giving feedback to build something up, you want someone that has that mindset the way he does and the way he breaks things down. Because it's nice to, yeah, there's some people who everything is very linear for them. Like they think everything very linearly. But then you have people like Otts who's just like, I don't know, meta mind gaming everything and breaking everything down to this molecular level and pieces things back together so they know how things work. Like that's a great way to build things because you have someone analyzing it from all angles from the beginning and saying, well, if you do XYZ, this will happen. If you do this will happen. We don't want this to happen, so let's not do this. And you end up with a better product. So it just blows my mind that I feel like they have some amazing resources that aren't part of it. And there could be a reason. I don't know. Depending on what they actually do in the program. We don't know.
I mean, maybe he turned
But
it down, but then that doesn't make
it,
sense
it
with
doesn't
like
make
his
sense.
comments either in the past of like, why don't they
Yeah.
listen? And I mean, it's well, okay, let's bring up Dowsy. I feel like Dowsy, there was a
We have to.
tweet, and apparently he was a consultant. He didn't share much, but he shared that he was a consultant around the Twins and Trickster release, and they didn't listen, and he left the program. So that kind of goes to the point of, are they listening? So that was Dowsy's frustration with the consultant program, and I think that maybe what's going on with like what happened with the Twins rework, and then like there's been so many PTBs that have been like messed up where we've gone like, why didn't they think of this? Like I remember the one PTB with like the unlimited endurance effects for Survivor with like the Metal Man, the Dead Heart. I'm like, did you not think about how this like people are stacking this? Like,
Yeah.
did y'all
It's
not?
crazy. I think it was like 6 hits, and Dowsy did that one too. Dowsy
Yeah.
did a video where I think he took a hit like 6 times
It was
before he went
insane.
down. It was
So
crazy.
there's like through the years, there's always been like stuff that's been broken, stuff we've been like, well, why didn't they think of this? How did they not realize how their game works? I honestly think they don't listen. I think through the years, DBD is listening more in the last couple of years than they did previously. Because back when Dowsey was covering DBD, I feel like that was the era of they were very serious. Like he lost his Twitch shirts. We're going to talk about Twitch shirts
Yeah.
soon. But he had gotten Twitch shirts and like he criticized Patrick, who was one of the devs, because he's the one that did the stupid hockey analogy.
DBD's like hockey.
And like I'm
that
pretty
was
sure
horrible.
Dowsey was probably not the only one that criticized it. Maybe he was the only one with Twitch shirts that criticized. Like I don't know if they painted, like if they had a target on him for some reason, maybe because of the consultant program. This is speculation. We were talking about before, like we understand now why Dowsey left. Like they treated him really
Yeah.
bad and they weren't listening. And so getting back to the original point, like when Dowsey in that anniversary, it was before the anniversary stream, but with Patrick and the hockey thing, I feel like they were super serious. And the reason he lost the Twitch shirts was because they claimed like he was threatening, and it wasn't a threat at all. They just couldn't take the criticism of what Patrick said. And
Yeah.
they just took him away. They didn't contact him in any way beforehand and said, hey, we don't like that you said this. We didn't think this was appropriate. Like there was no warning or anything. It was just like he logged on one day and his shirts were gone. And he didn't take it seriously at all. He made more fun of it than anything, along with the hockey analogy. The hockey thing became like a joke throughout
A
the rest of
meme,
his
almost, yeah.
throughout the rest of him when he was still doing DBD content. But yeah, he left ultimately. And I understand why he left. They treated him really bad. They didn't listen. And I think this is also pushing other people to maybe leave the Fog Whisperer program. Because now we can talk about also
Yeah.
us, our beloved, we
Our
love
beloved.
Spooky Loops left
Spooky
the
Loop.
Fog Whisperer program.
Our
He
PFF,
did.
even though he doesn't know it.
He's still streaming DVD. Like
Spooky
y'all
Loops,
don't pay.
you can be part of our Swift anytime.
Yes, I agree.
Anytime. Yeah. So, and the funny thing is how it all kind of came out is Otts went on vacation for a little bit, came back, and
Oh,
then
it was
was
some-
like, oh, I'm so sad because he didn't name names because, you know, one of my really good friends left the program and he was really sad about it. And then kind of Spooky came out and was like, yeah, you know, I left the program. And he even mentioned, he was like, I was kind of emotional over everything. But at the same time, it's kind of been built up. If anyone watches his streams, he's kind of talked about it and given constructive criticism or criticism of the program, especially around the time of Lights Out, when we learned that, you know, select group people were set to like play test the Lights Out, and they had recorded videos. So the moment the game Lights Out dropped, the modifier dropped, they'd uploaded their videos. And the same thing for My Little Oni, they upload their videos, which means those videos got traction. Content creators or, you know, Fog Whispers that recorded later, videos didn't get as much traction because other videos were already up. And that's something that Spooky had commented on. And again, I don't know how many Fog Whispers there are. I don't know, like 60 or something like that. Why can't it's a small pool of, if you think the larger picture of the community that plays, why you couldn't have just rounds of everyone coming in and checking out the modifiers to then also have videos to help support all of your Fog Whispers, because this is also a lot of their full-time jobs as well. Other things as well as when certain things came out, select people got merch and other people didn't. So we don't know how they're choosing or why they're choosing. But if you look at the pool that people that did get that merch or not, for the most part, they aren't very critical of DBD in their content. Also, clear thing up. So you can be critical about something, but still be passionate about it and want it to survive. And a lot of times, you're critically looking at what it is that you're playing or consuming. So it doesn't necessarily mean negativity, which maybe behavior gets across sometimes. But essentially, it was a lot of build-up stuff for Spooky, and I believe from understanding and comments Spooky made, and then there is a really good video by Choi that came out if you guys want some more in-depth, where he did kind of plug in all of Spooky's clips. Yeah, he even asked to be part of the program and believe turned down. Again, we don't know. A lot of this is speculation. That's why it's called tea.
Yeah.
Lots of tea.
And so he decided to leave. Now, from my understanding, Toki is still a fog whisperer, as if you go look at our stuff. But Spooky, if you go to look at his streams, everything's down that's associated with being a fog whisperer. So it's kind of disheartening if you think about it.
Well, this also goes, I guess, to the question: how does this announcement of the consultant program make the fog whispers look? Because there's been, again, like what you said, like since we started this podcast, it's been like, how did this stuff go through? Don't they play test their game?
Yeah.
And the other comments I see a lot when from the community as a whole, right, when stuff comes out broken, is like, well, why didn't you ask your fog whispers? Or, you know, and the fog whispers, I think, get asked all the time, you know, about their role and if they provide feedback to behavior, and the answer is no. And it doesn't seem like behavior is listening to these fog whispers or their communities with changes. I mean, they definitely listened to everyone with the twins rework. That was a disaster, right? But the fog whispers have no input into the game. They have even less input than the consultants. They are just to promote the game.
They're brand ambassadors. That's all they are.
Yeah.
They're public facing figures, essentially.
And they give
Can
out
they give
codes.
feedback? Yeah. I mean, they can, but who knows if it does anything.
I'm curious if they even have a direct line to the development team, like to devs.
There's a
at
Discord,
Behavior.
though. We know that there's a Discord for the Fog Whispers.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, who from Behavior is on that
like
Discord.
actually in it.
Is it just like a social media manager, right? Or
Mhm.
is it actually like someone that develops the game, right? Like, who is getting the information? Because Behavior is no longer an itty bitty company like when they first came out with this game. They're bigger, they have a lot more employees, and you know, whoever's running that Discord, maybe they don't pass on the information, or maybe they do, and it's just like, well, they're not going to listen to them, or it's not a priority. Maybe I think some changes that the community wants, they're not priorities for Behavior. Like, for instance, Otz brought up like better spectator mode and custom games for like tournaments and stuff, but tournaments is not their like priority. It's not Behavior's priority to make tournaments look better, have better spectator views.
Well, so like
The camera, there's been some buggy camera issues with the custom and spectating, like, but they've already said like that's not a priority for them. So I think Spooky was very frustrated with the fact that he wanted to be a part of the program. He wants the game to be better, right?
Yeah.
I think his heart is definitely in the right place of he wants this game to do better.
He built a whole platform around it. Like,
yes.
If you're going to be streaming something every single day, you have to be passionate about it. And that's something, for example, another creator, Lexi, who I love, end of last year when Baldur's Gate came out, she is a Fog Whisperer. She was a DBD streamer. She kind of took a break, like a freaking 6-month break, and went to like Baldur's Gate. But anytime anyone asked her, like, hey, how do you get into streaming? The very first thing she says is you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You need a good mod team. Like, you need to have fun with it. And it's true, you have to be passionate about it. No one would be streaming it if you weren't passionate about it. That's why I'm assuming Spooky chose it in the first place. It was a game he enjoyed playing, and he is so fun to watch playing it. He's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I love his videos.
And he has quite the following now, too. Like, his YouTube channel blew up.
Oh, it was crazy when he moved over to YouTube. Like, I was so proud and happy for him. And even today, like, when I pull up his streams, people come in and be like, oh, I didn't realize you had Twitch. Oh, that's where he started. Like, it was so awesome when he went out, and I love watching his YouTube videos. So he has like, back in the day, what we'd go watch him and he had like 300, 400 people watching, and now almost always he's in the 1 to 2,000s.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he's streaming, he just gives good content. It's a nice community to be in. He's very knowledgeable at the game, and he makes it fun to watch the game. So it really is like a man behavior. Like it's such a good person to have as a fog whisperer, and then even somebody who, again, he's a Huntress main, someone you can consult for something like changes with Huntress, or he plays both killer and survivor, so he has a dual perspective of how things work. Like, I don't know, I just think it's a big loss.
I do too.
Yeah,
I mean, he
and
was. Oh, sorry. For
no,
even
no,
like a
no.
while, I mean, I say a while. I'm not sure how long he was doing it, but I know he had a channel point redemption thing where you could actually join like his team and like learn how to stream and like kind of engage your audience. Like he's just such an all around cool guy, and
We
I'm
had a
just
friend in
sad.
it. We had a
Yeah, I was gonna
friend
say
Mhm.
we have a friend.
who's
He,
who's a streamer,
yeah.
and he was a part of it. It was like a Patreon.
Oh, that's right. It was a
He might
Patreon
he might be
thing.
still doing it, but those were fun times. He was
Yeah.
also someone who, like, in our friends, obviously a smaller streamer, but when he would hop in to like Spooky's chat, he would be like, "Oh yeah, so and so is here. Like, hey, you haven't checked out his streams? Check him out. It's really cool." Like, he was trying to engage. I genuinely do believe he tries to engage with his community.
And I'm sure that's the point of the Fog Whisperer. I get it, but I just feel like they should also be the ones that you should look into as well. Like they have the constructive feedback, the constructive criticism. They do this, like you said, every single day. I'm sure people who are Fog Whisperers stream, and yeah, I think it's weird. And I know there's a lot of people out there in like the comments on Twitter and Reddit who are like, how did you not know that they didn't listen to them? And it's like, how did you know that they didn't? Like, I don't know. I get all angry about it because I'm like, I love people who are like, well, you should have known that this is how it's gonna go, and I'm like, well, I didn't. I believed that behavior actually listened to the people they somewhat employ. I mean, I'm sure they don't get paid, but
No,
No.
the consultant program. So the
Consultants are
consultant
paid.
program, they are paid.
oh, they are paid.
The
Okay,
the fog whispers, no.
They get free
yeah,
So
stuff.
they
Like,
get free stuff, but not
yeah,
like,
and I'm
no,
sure
no
like
paycheck.
like you said, they get
yeah, not a
exposure.
paycheck.
Yeah,
Exposure.
but I don't know. It's a lot. It's something I thought Fog Whispers were more of the like, hey, like we're gonna show you how this new chapter's going and blah blah blah. And then I also naively thought that they had a say in some things, but I guess not. So
Well,
Well, even
I
not just to say just having behavior's ear, but apparently not that either.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's wrong if you assume that or anyone else that's listening assume that because I mean, what information do we have? And there's not really I don't think any official information from behavior of like what a fog whisperer is. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like if you're just coming into this game brand new, like yeah, I think you would think fog whisperers are more a part or have more of a relationship with behavior and are able to give some feedback on the game. Or you would think devs are watching their streams and like
Hmm.
seeing what's going on with the game and the gameplay. I think with Spooky, he mentioned like what he was struggling with was like that behavior doesn't value him.
Yeah.
And I feel like this whole consultant thing is maybe sending that message to the Fog Whispers and their communities, right?
Hmm.
Because
yeah.
if you look at like Spooky or even just other content creators, like we talked about Linksy with the twins,
Linksy and the twins, yeah.
like why aren't you getting these people that are experts in you know that the aspect of the game they've mastered, right? Like twins, Huntress, maybe even Survivor, being a survivor, survivor perks. Like, why aren't you getting these people to give you feedback on the game. But then like Spooky has, like we mentioned, his channel is blown up, right? He's getting up there close to 700K on YouTube. I don't know what he has on Twitch, but like Queen mentioned, like he always has like over 1,000 people watching. And then you think about like Otz has an even bigger audience, and
Oh my gosh.
Otz isn't a consultant.
6,000 plus.
He had, when a new chapter drops, he'll have 10K. Like I can
Yeah,
guarantee
easy.
you. Like
Yeah,
when big
he's-
events happen, big chapter releases, I've seen him with over 10K.
Because I go there for that stuff because he'll break it down.
He does
Like,
a very
yeah.
good job, and his
Very
YouTube
good
channel
job.
as well.
Yeah.
He has videos where he breaks down. Okay, here's a new chapter. Here's the new perks. These are knowledgeable content creators, and is Behavior by announcing this program? I don't even know to say announce because they didn't really announce it, but
I
like
feel like they had people announce it for them.
they
which
did.
Also
It's
makes
really
me feel
weird.
kind of salty about it as well. Like, again, please give us some transparency. Kudos to Otofu and Hins for saying like we're a part of it. We do love their content. I love like Hins comp content. Super smart, like watch them play. Again, Tofu, love watching them play. Kudos for them for coming out. But why did it have to be on them? I feel like they were trying to be transparent with their community, which I love. It just, hey, 10 out of 10 people. Thank you for being transparent with the people
Yeah.
who consume your content. But at the same time, I feel like I just have more questions. Like I really would have loved for Behavior to come out and be like, this is what it is, this is what it does, this is how long we've had it, this is why we didn't announce it, and this is why we're coming out now.
Yeah.
Like transparency.
Yeah, they didn't come out with this post until after I think Hens and Tofu, and whoever else that's a consultant has announced it. Like this was like a reactive post, right? It wasn't like, hey, we have this
Proactive.
consultant. Yeah, it wasn't proactive. It wasn't that they announced it and then the content creator started announcing, right? It was the content creators came forward, and then there were so many questions, and of course, these content creators can't answer all these questions, right? They are under an NDA. And they only to a certain point can they can't really speak for Behavior, I guess, really. So then like Peanuts had to come up with this whole long post that we read to explain everything, but it still doesn't answer all the questions. I mean, it does answer how long it's been around. I mean, they are never going to release who they listened to and what feedback they took. Because I have a feeling a lot of feedback is like, this sucks, don't do it. And they do it anyways. I really feel like that's probably a majority of the feedback.
Well,
is them being like, this doesn't work, don't do it. And the Behavior's like, it's fine.
They're like, well, we already have it queued up for PTB.
Right,
But
we're
also,
already
like,
ready.
we don't know when they brought in. Like, let's say that they're like pre-PTB. They're like, oh, PTB is launching. They're not going to have times to fix stuff. I feel like what it sounds like is they're like, hey, look at this, give us your feedback. And then they're like, well, we're going to put it in PTB and see if the community aligns with you
Yeah,
before
I
we
feel
look
like
at making changes.
maybe really the only thing they're wanting to tweak is like numbers. Like, okay, this perk does this like 10%.
Yeah.
Whatever, and adjusting numbers is easy to do. Like they're going to buff saboing, right, coming up. So like changing it from like 15 to 20%. Like numbers like that. If it's something they can just like, let's just change the percentage a little bit. That might be what they're changing. But these big changes to perks and killer powers and stuff, like they already have like a schedule, right? They have chapter release schedules and then mid-chapter schedules. And so, yeah, they may not want to deviate from that. It's probably why this twins thing came out broken, because they've been talking about this rework for over 2 years. And it's like, when are we going to get this? And then it was like, this is what they came up with.
Let me help you. There's a
Help them,
website
Queen.
called oddstarva.com.
Hey, you know what you could do? You could like go give Otz a paycheck and show him how appreciative. And then
That
you know
has
what you should do? You should go hire
everything.
Spooky as well. Though he may
Yes.
not join you now because he's so mad at you. But I can't speak for Spooky, but gosh.
I'll tell you what, Behavior Odds really breaks it down. He's got your killer survivor maps, your survivor survivor maps. He's got things down, lovely sheets, a tier list of killers, what the add-ons do, anything that he would look at that might be beneficial to change. Oddstarva.com. There you go. You're welcome, Behavior.
Free advice for you to take
Yeah,
and do
yeah,
what
it's
you will.
free.
But like for real, like if anyone's struggling with playing DBD and wants to know what killers should you play, what are some of the best builds, breakdown of maps, other than going to his YouTube. I know it's like free shout out to Otts and we do this a lot, but he's very knowledgeable and he's helped us
Well,
Yeah,
with
he's
how we
he's
like
great.
play.
he's
Um
like the
his
biggest content
his
creator for
website
DVD.
his website is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know about it and you're genuinely looking to make yourself a better player, regardless if you play killer or survivor, if you do both, it's just packed full of resources and we've used it. It's very nice layout too, so
Yeah, it's really designed well. So
it's
good
very
job
well designed. Yeah,
to
and that's
whoever
coming from
designed it.
somebody who does design.
Yeah,
People know Morbid does design. That's her job.
yeah. And I'm like, it's great. I don't know if he
Yes.
did it, but someone did. And yeah, I really like it. It's a good design layout.
Yeah.
And you can log in. You can create your own account.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
here.
Although
Oh,
I
a
do
lot of
have
stuff.
one, God forbid, what if everyone's giving horrible advice?
Well, I
Like
would hope
the
not.
consultants, they're like, "Oh yeah,
no.
we should totally do it this way."
I just
But I don't believe
I
that 100%,
I
but
I
someone
think
on
couldn't.
Twitter
I think
did, and I was
behavior.
like,
It,
"Yeah,
it, it also goes to like how much input they have because I just don't see, again, we only know about hens and tofu. I just
true."
couldn't imagine them
Being like, "What
giving
if we
bad
just
advice
like."
because they're very knowledgeable about the
Yeah,
game. But if tofu's been it for so long, I don't I feel like people would have like, I don't know, left or rotated out, like for example, like Dowsy. And it's funny with the whole thing went down with Dowsy, back when it was happening, I remember us having some type of conversation, be like, Dowsy's hitting hard. like, like Dowsy, like we were like, we feel like there's something missing. The consultant program was what was missing.
Yeah.
That was the part that was missing with how everything was going, because it was like there's just this gap. Like all of a sudden one day it just really blew up. But I could understand how if you're part of something and you were selected to be part of something because of your knowledge and because apparently there's trust in you with how like mechanics of the game work to be part of something and not be listened to, or we don't know the structure. But again, like as Scott mentioned, what's the point of bringing somebody in when you have almost a finished product instead of bringing them in from the drawing board aspect?
yeah,
Because
thanks.
there's a difference between playtesters and people who can help you mechanically build up your game.
I think behavior gets too married to their ideas. Like they're too committed to like, we're going to do this. This is the change
Yeah.
we're going to make. And it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter what anyone says. We've seen that in the past, many PTBs of them, especially around Dowsy's time of like, no, this is what we're going to do. There was a whole period of time, again, around Dowsy where I feel like behavior was like, we know better than the community what we're doing with our game. We know
Yeah.
better than you. We're not going to listen to you. Now, I think they have adjusted. They're not quite that way. And that is probably because there are different people. Devs have left. There's new devs in there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they are more receptive now. But back then, gosh, I feel like it was really harsh. Like they just didn't want to listen to the community. It's when it, like MMR, going back to MMR, when they implemented MMR as like the serious stage of DVD, of we're going to take this game more competitive. We are very serious. And it like moved from being a fun party game to competitive. And they did not listen to the community. They obviously didn't listen to Dowsy, and Dowsy got frustrated and left. Now, I guess Otofu is not frustrated. He's been there since the beginning. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be
Maybe
interesting to know what he's
they
part
didn't.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they listened to Tofu and not Dowsy. But Dowsy, I loved watching Dowsy's DVD content because he was very
Mm-hmm.
much similar to Otts in his knowledge and his kind of his content too. Of like, here's a new chapter. Here's how everything breaks down, the perks, the powers. Like he was very good with this presenting
Yeah.
the information, explaining how everything worked. I don't blame him for leaving, and I'm glad
Yeah.
he is probably in a better mental state now than being around all
Yeah,
this
for sure.
I still
DVD
watch his
drama.
content. Like, yeah, I still watch his stuff. I'll watch no matter what. Because at the end of the day, like, if Spooky was to, like, completely change what he's playing, and he has been branching out with other games, at the end of the day, I'm there for Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do I love DBD? Yes. I'll watch that man, I don't know, draw and paint 25 jillion times, because he does like to do that occasionally, or play tic-tac-toe, or I don't know, do whatever, because I just genuinely enjoy him as a person. And the same thing with Dowsy. I've watched Dowsy play many games. He got into TCM a little bit, but no matter what he plays, because I genuinely enjoy watching him stream, which it was just is a loss for some people leaving the community, because a lot of it, they're burnt out. The game can get stale, and on top of that, they've asked for transparency and for behavior to listen, and then things like this happen, and I think it's could be very disheartening. So is it great they have this program? Yes. Should we been made aware from the beginning? I think so. Even if we don't have to know who's in it, but to know that there is something like that, because then we can have questions like, well, if you have something like that, what are you doing to have things like the twins happen? Because I don't know.
I'm
gonna say
just
it again.
afraid this is going to have a negative impact on anyone that's come out as a consultant. Like the next, let's say they come
I
up with
hope
another,
not.
let's say next update, whatever, is a total disaster again, like Twins rework. Is like Hens, Tofu, whoever else, are they going to get negative feedback? They're probably going to get a lot of questions of
Yeah.
the next thing, something is going to come in broken. Okay, we just know this has been their track record. Even though they've had this program, so many broken things have come through. So the next broken thing that comes through, are these content creators going to get backlash? They shouldn't get backlash. That's
They
what the
shouldn't.
post says, but not everyone's going to
Yeah.
read this post either.
Yeah.
That's a response to like other people posting on the forum, because they didn't officially announce anything. So there are going to be probably lots of people that did not read this post from Peanuts. And even if you do, you're going to still be like, Hens, why did they put this out? Did you test this? Did you say this was okay?
And he can't
Like,
say anything though.
and he
so
can't say anything. So it's
They
like,
can't defend themselves,
no,
essentially.
I think this is putting a big target on other people, and it's giving behavior kind of the scapegoat of like,
I agree.
I don't think they would say it outright, but it's like, well, it got tested and it was fine. Like that's kind of the image it gives. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it's like you got to look at like the general DBD population and player base and like what they're perceiving. If casual players are not probably digging into like all the Twitter drama and stuff
No.
with this, so it's like they're going to be like, well, there's a consultant program, so they're just testing things, and then the next thing that comes out, we're going to be like, why didn't they fix this? Isn't this tested?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go complain. And because these are consultants, this is not their in-house. I'm sure they have to have some sort of, in-house testing first.
Well, there is an in-house QA.
There is,
There has
yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And we know that because we met one on the stream the one time. But also,
Yeah.
we don't know how they're presenting the information. For all we know, for the Twins rework, maybe they just came to him and said, like, hey, this is what we're doing with Victor. Maybe they're not getting the whole picture, because you can't give, and I hope they would be, because you can't give an informed decision / informative constructive feedback if you don't have the whole picture for how something works. So if they're only getting partial information, that's all they're answering off of. So we don't know what it is. Maybe they didn't let anyone do anything with the Twins, and they were just like, this is what we're doing to maps, or this is what we're doing
Yeah.
to, these certain nerfs and buffs to XYZ random killers.
And that goes
For
back
all
to
we know.
transparency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna make it live. And they're like, what?
This is a hard.
Yeah.
This is a hard thing, because we were talking about transparency, but then this whole thing with the consultant program, they can't be transparent. There's NDAs, so it's hard, because it's like, yes, we want behavior to be transparent, but the people they have kind of put in the spotlight, or they have people that have chosen to be in the spotlight, I guess, like Hens and Tofu, are going to get the backlash and behavior too.
yeah.
But like,
But behavior can be transparent. They can come out.
well, we've
Like
seen how
for
that's
PTB.
gone.
Yeah.
with
They
the
could come out for
the
PTB and be like,
question.
hey, I would love that. I would love behavior to be like, these are the things we went over with our consultants. They don't have to give names.
No.
Yeah.
They can say, we presented this to them. Like, we just talked about these nerfs and buffs, and here's the feedback that we got from them. And then here's the feedback we got from you as a community. Here's how it aligned, and this is why we did what we did.
Yeah.
We didn't give any of them, any information or any look at Twins prior to PTB. You can still give that information out, You know what I mean? And still respect whatever NDA you have with those people and not give out their stuff. That way we at least know, like, oh, well, you know, that makes sense. No one knew about the twins. They just wanted to go to PTB. So, and also like, hey, these people aligned with what we thought about, I don't know, just throw like a Huntress buff. Like, oh, yeah, we all thought that was cool. They thought it was cool. That's the feedback they gave. We agreed with them as a community. They put it in the game. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you feel more involved. It makes you feel like there's a weightiness to the feedback that you provide. It's something as simple as that. So I feel like a lot of this stuff has a very simple solution. You know, when it comes to engaging with your community, it's so simple. Why can it not be done? And why does it have to be like, I really hope, like, I don't want Hens or Tofu to get bad backlash from any of this. But essentially, you know, like, kind of like we said, Mocking, if something does happen people don't like, there's an assumption that, hey,
Yeah.
you probably saw this and how dare you
Mm-hmm.
let that get through. But they don't have that power. Again, guys, don't go out and give these people hate, please.
Oh,
Like,
no. I'm just
we
saying.
personally
I'm
think,
just saying.
like,
I'm afraid that's what's going to happen.
yeah, we
Me too.
personally applaud them for coming out and being like, yeah, we've been a part of this program. Like, that was probably that's really cool for them to do for their communities, to show transparency to the people consuming their content. Man, behavior, like, you had an opportunity to, again, go show transparency as your community's been asking, and to delve a little bit deeper into what it is these consultants do, to also put like a line between what the expectations for fog whisperers are, because now there's this whole thing like consultant versus fog whisperer
Yeah.
going on. And for the people who didn't know about the consultant program, there's fog whispers who are hurt by it, or they had an assumption it was going on and wondering like, hey, why am I not a part of this? So it created rifts. Maybe they didn't intend for that to happen, but I feel like it did create rifts in the community. All because, you know, again, transparency. The title of this episode is transparency.
Right.
Well,
Like,
gosh,
just tell us.
But thinking in this like last year that they tried to do those Q&As on Reddit, wasn't it?
Oh,
And
yeah.
those were a disaster. I know we want transparency, but they also need to have their PR people.
Yeah, they need a
Where are their PR people? Gosh, I'm starting to wonder, because they did those, but the problem was they let like certain devs directly answer, and they were not like worded well, and they came off, some of the answers came off as really like harsh or
Snarky.
demeaning, snarky. Like, really, you need to have, you can let those people answer and give that to their PR person, let the PR person like fluff it and reword it and make it presentable. Because while they were trying, that's why they did those, was transparency, but they came off really bad because people were not answering in a, I don't know how to put it, just like
answering in a community manner. So
yeah,
like,
you're
they're
the
answering,
QA
yeah. So they're answering with knowledge of things that they know that's going on behind the scenes, which we do not.
Yeah.
So their answers didn't align with what the community knows, and that's different. You have to speak to your audience. So, you know, a dev might know like this XYZ is going on in the back, and that's why we can't do it. And they give an answer that makes absolutely no sense because they have that back knowledge. So there's an assumption that we know something that we don't. And that's what I felt like that whole Q&A was. It was an assumption that we knew stuff that was going on. Behavior has a track history of not knowing how to speak to its audience.
Yeah, they have social media
yeah.
managers though and stuff, so I just don't understand how they don't realize, because like someone's posting these answers on Reddit. Do y'all not read this and see like, this doesn't sound nice, it sounds demeaning to
It doesn't answer the question
the
either.
player base. Like, there's sometimes answers that are like, well, we know better than the community. And that's fine if you think you in this, you know, question that your position is better. Tell us why in a respectable way. And so I think while we've gotten some transparency, they have not done a good job being transparent. And I think that's kind of the issue. Like behavior, you just need to hire Queen to handle all of your
There you go.
publicity and
It's
stuff,
my
because
job.
apparently she knows how to do it a lot better than you're probably not going to get it if I say this. Like than the people that are there. Like I mean, I don't know, where are their PR? Because why did they like let the consultants announce this and not announce it first? They should have had an announcement of like, we want to put this information out there that there's a consultant program, there are content creators a part of it. They're not, like, sum it up and be like, we're wanting to release this because there's been questions on if stuff gets tested after our recent update, and we're trying to be more transparent, and content creators may or may not come out as consultants if they are. So just,
Yeah.
they should have been ahead of it and announced it first. They should not have left it up to the consultants to announce if they were a part of it. And I don't know. I think they're just trying to make themselves look better. They're getting a lot of backlash, but this is not like the first time they've gotten backlash.
I don't think it's helped. I don't
No.
think this has helped at all. Like, I'm glad they have a program, but at the same time, we were asking for something like this, but even though knowing the program has been there, I'm just like, I don't really see anything that has been super beneficial from it. But again, I don't know.
Well, we don't
Like,
know, but then
behavior.
like again, we're looking back and like all this stuff's been broken. The twins,
Yeah.
endurance effects. Like, I mean, if I really go look back in DVD history, I'm sure we come up with like a long list of like stuff they released that's been broken, including Lady Voldemort. But like,
And it
Evil
makes
Lady
you
Voldemort.
question like everything.
mhm.
It does.
I feel like it's like, wait a minute, what?
And then everything coming up, we're going to question, like, was this tested? Like, how did
Oh,
this
yeah.
get through? Like,
Who gave feedback on it? What was the
Mhm.
feedback given? Like, and again, that can easily be resolved. Behavior. All you have to do, it's I don't know. It's simple feedback. Maybe because I do it a lot. It's just like when you're testing somebody or getting feedback from somebody, you write it all down, and then you go present it to your group and be like, "This is the feedback that we got, and that's why we moved in this direction." And then we got the feedback from the community, and that's when we came to the conclusion that this was the best for it, or this aligned with what we want to do in the future. Like, that's the whole point of testing something. And I know, like, the post that Peanuts did, it wasn't like QA testing,
mhm.
but still, that's the whole point of getting feedback is you gather everything, everyone's feedback, everyone's different opinions, and then, you gather Group B's feedback. I don't know. It baffles me because I would really like to know, again, if we go back to the twins, what they asked of these people to do and what the feedback they got was. That's how you're transparent with your community. Yeah, I think we're just confused.
We're very confused.
Like, that's all it is. Like, we're looking at, you've had this program for like almost 7 years, maybe going on 8, and I don't know why you would wait so long to be like, we have it. I mean, just like, what was it, the plague changes they came out with recently with her sons and stuff, and they were like, well, actually, it was supposed to be that way the whole time.
Oh, that was under the radar. Wasn't that Otts again that figured it
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, but I was like, still, that's your answer, was that it was supposed to be that way the whole time. Okay, there were so many. Why did it take you 3 years to fix it then?
Yeah, we did that on purpose.
Or was it a bug and you're like, oh,
We're just going to keep it.
Johnny's back there in the office like, I don't know, Bob, I don't know how to fix this. You know what? We're going to gaslight them. Tell them it's
Oh my
supposed
gosh.
to be that way.
Definitely a
whole
feature
time.
that we
It's
meant
Totally
to
how it
have.
works.
not a bug, it's a feature.
That's what it feels like. Even if that wasn't what it intended. Maybe 100%, let's say that was genuinely what it was, and they found a way, again, because we know that the coding isn't like super strong foundational for them. Maybe it really did take them 2-3 years to figure out how to put that back in. And maybe that's genuinely what happened, but that's not how it feels. And that's how your community is going to respond based on how they are feeling. You're giving them stuff, right? It's going to be an emotional reaction. So it's confusing. And you feel like you're being gaslighted. Maybe we're not, but that's the feeling. Like there's no level of trust there for me to be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense, because it doesn't. Maybe it
Yeah.
makes sense on the back end. I don't know what's going on the back end. I only know what the content I'm consuming on my end is and how that makes me think and feel, because we're not getting that information. So just weird stuff. Like, we love the game and we genuinely want the game to do well. We love playing it with each other. That's why we made this podcast to begin with. But at the same time, Behavior, I would love for you to get people in the community that maybe have the opposite opinion of what you think is best for the game and hear them out and maybe come to a middle ground. That's how it works. To give another work analogy, which I'm sure people are tired of me speaking about work, on my team, we have what my boss calls the OGs. There's 3 of us, and we've been there since the beginning. We built our quality assurance department from the ground up, the 3 of us. He has me, he has my name twin, who's always on the opposite spectrum of me in regards to opinion, what we think is best. And then we have our other work bestie, who's always in the middle. So me and my name twin, we'll go at it hard. Like, we love each other. We'll argue. We're giving our different points of what we think is best. And then our work bestie is just sitting there listening to it all. And then she breaks it down. Well, man, Queen said over here, oh, that, XYZ, that's the positives. And what her name twin over here said is XYZ, that's the positives. And then we try to find a common ground. And that's why we work so well. Not because we think the same, because we have different thought processes, but we work well and we can come to a mature decision as a group and find that middle ground and break it down. And my boss has said it so many times, he wouldn't want 3 people that think alike, because it's not how it works. You're not going to get the different perspectives and the viewpoints. And he loves that. He'll come to me and be like, he's like, I love that you're like my bull in a China shop. When I need someone to take over the world, I know that you will not be afraid to do it. And I love that your name twin she just communicates so well, and she's a little more subtle. So when I need subtle things to go through, I'll have her do it. And when I need somebody to kind of be in the middle on both ends, I'll have our work bestie do it. Like, that's how this should be working. You shouldn't be afraid to pull in people who have very different viewpoints from you, because it's good to see it from the other side, and there's going to be some benefit from that. And I feel like that's something that they may not be doing, because in past history, they haven't done super well with constructive criticism, or what they probably would be perceiving as negative feedback.
Yeah.
But you need that. Like, don't be scared to get that. We volunteer.
Don't take it personal, right? That's the
thing. Don't take it personal.
I think they, like, again, back to Dowsey back in the day, they took a lot of things personal. That's how he lost his sweatshirts. Like, they need to realize, like, we're not trying to attack them, because we want this game to keep going.
Yeah,
we love it.
We want what's best for the game.
Despite our comments.
All these other people, content creators and stuff we've mentioned, they want what's best for the game.
Yes.
As well. Not just because it's their job. They love the game, right? We talked about you do what you're passionate about. And so they care about this game. So it's not like they're trying to be mean or anything. I don't know. We'll see. I imagine there's going to be more falling out. I am curious if anyone else is going to leave the program or not.
Ooh,
maybe they should just all riot. I don't know. I don't think that would happen. Be like, we're all leaving. Spooky left.
Yeah,
Let's just all leave. Like, can you imagine if Otts left? Like, the
oh my
uproar?
God, I would cry. But at the same time, I think like it's a loss to the DVD community. But I'm hoping it's a gain. Like, if Otts is to go any or whatever community he would go to, that'd be such a gain. Like, and same with Spooky. It's such a gain. Same, for example, Lexi, who I gave the example before. Oh my gosh, her DBD community, crazy. She was such a gain for that community. She was interviewed for articles. Her little clips of the game blew up. How she thinks about the game blew up. That's stuff that she could have been doing for DBD.
Yeah.
But the Baldur's Gate community got the fruit of all that stuff, which was amazing. But a lot of that comes from like burnout, feeling you're not being listened to, just wanting to experiencing something new. And it's hard. A lot of content creators, I think that's also the big thing. Like Spooky has mentioned this before. You're losing out on the community that helped you become what you are, and switching to something else can be totally detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone could do what Lexi did. Actually, one of her recent videos, she talked about it. And she stated how lucky she was that her DVD community stayed with her. Now she has this Baldur's Gate community following, and then she's super excited. Obviously, Baldur's Gate is tabletop gaming game kind of game, and we have the D&D stuff coming out. So she came back, and so she's now
Yeah.
introducing hundreds of new people to DVD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everyone can do it, and I get that a lot of people lose their community because that's why they're there. But then you have people who like Spooky, who I think no matter what he does, he's gonna have a following.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause he's just
Mhm.
good, and it just makes me so sad. Because like we said, we love the game. We wouldn't be spending time, like there's so much stuff we could be doing right now. Like, and part of the reason like it's been podcasts have been coming out with larger gaps is like life. You know, we're busy, sicknesses, kids, spouses, work, friends. Things get busy, but we generally try to make the time to get together. We wouldn't be doing this if all we wanted to do was, shit on behavior. We're doing this because we're hoping we can have a voice out in the community and maybe create a community of our own. And
Yeah.
and essentially say like, hey, this is our feedback behavior. And we wouldn't be doing this like, we're not like loathe podcasting, like we hate it so much.
No. And just
That's not the
educational
intent.
too. Like,
Yeah.
like this is like with all this going on, like what are these programs? And then like
Yeah.
when we talk about different chapters and stuff, we're trying to also like give our feedback, but also educational. Like this is what's good about it. This is what's bad about it. Like,
It's also the content we like to genuinely consume.
yeah.
So, we like to see the pros and cons and stuff. We like to have the breakdown of mechanics. We generally want to play the game better,
Yeah.
as
I
well.
do.
I know I do. We consume content to help with that,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we've never been ladies to just sit back and not speak on something when we see it or hear it. We opinionated Southerners.
Mm-hmm.
We've got opinions, y'all.
That's why we made the podcast. We had all the
Yeah.
opinions is
We're like,
bottled
we
up.
have
We're like,
no-
we need to talk about this.
Yeah, we would just sit in a Discord and talk about this stuff for hours, and they're like, why aren't we recording ourselves?
Yeah.
There's one other thing we haven't talked about too much.
True.
Okay, Twitch shirts.
Yes.
Okay, this is probably the lesser of the topics.
Yeah.
So if you're a Twitch streamer, of course, you might be able to get Twitch shirts. So recently, though, I think it's been sporadic in the past when they've released the Twitch shirts. But recently, they let the Fog Whisperers give codes out for Twitch shirts. So Fog Whisperers got to choose who they wanted to give Twitch shirts to in the community. And I saw mixed feedback on this. So I'm curious what y'all think. So the kind of the pro is, of course, they're getting their Fog Whisperers involved in something else, right? Using them. Of course, it's like promotion, but they're getting to choose other content creators that they know and give them Twitch shirts, and that's nice, right? The con I have seen about this is basically it takes the liability off of behavior. So if one of these streamers in the future acts inappropriately, doesn't align with behavior's views, and they lose their Twitch shirts, well, it's not on behavior. They didn't choose them in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's putting it on the streamer. And I did hear Lexi talking about this, and I'm trying to remember exactly what she was saying in regards to like, you'll have people who will just give them to like their friends, which could pull people into their content.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to put words in her mouth. I was super absorbed with what she was playing. Also, there was that double-edged sword of what if you give it to somebody and they just kind of go off the deep end? How liable are you for that? Like, is the person
That's
going to be
true.
liable for their own actions? Like, because maybe it's not somebody that you knew a lot. And that's something that was brought up as well, is like, seeing people give out like those Twitch shirts, but to someone like they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you, if you have the ability to do that, are going to have to do it, I guess, with discretion, because are they going to be able to come back and be like, well, you're the one that picked that person to do that, and then they said this outlandish, I don't know, horrible thing, and you're the one that kind of brought that about. Like, again, how it just so I would rather behavior be behind the one doing it. Like, I could understand maybe if like you're a streamer and you're like, oh, this person's also a streamer and I've engaged with them a lot and I watch their streams and I actually am part of their community as well. And I think maybe they're
Mhm.
deserving of a Twitch shirt. And maybe
Yes.
there's a recommendation or a referral program.
That would be cool.
Oh, I
And then
forgot. Oh, go ahead.
no, like, and then behavior can vet them and decide. Yeah, I feel like people were just giving them out as like, oh, this person's just a longtime community member, like almost as prizes without
Yeah.
understanding like
Well, okay.
the stuff behind it.
I forgot to look this up at the beginning. So this is from DBD's webpage but this is from 2021. Okay.
Mhm.
This is the requirements for a Twitch shirt. So this would be not codes from the Fog Whisperers. But to qualify, you have to be a Twitch affiliate or partner. You have to be a exemplary DBD content creator with good standing with Twitch and have displayed DBD streaming schedule with a minimum of 20 dedicated hours per month. So not too many hours per month. So I wonder if they had the people who got the codes, if they had to be within these guidelines as well.
But how would you know? That's what I'm saying. How would a code know?
Well, code wouldn't know. I mean, like
Yeah.
the Fog Whisperer would have. It would be on the Fog Whisperer. So know that they're a
Mm.
Twitch affiliate and that that they're a DVD streamer. They stream at least 20 hours per month, which isn't that bad. I mean, obviously, if they have a Twitch, they're going to be in good standing. They
Yeah.
could just give it to anyone, like,
Yeah.
and like, I don't know
just
how much
seems-
behavior is paying attention.
This
Yeah.
episode's just full of the T word, transparency. We don't know if they were given requirements to who can get the codes or not.
Oh, that is true.
Like,
Yeah.
which
They
would be
probably-
nice.
They probably, I would assume they did. I mean, they're like, hey, be careful who you give these to. Make sure they're not just randos or, whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to diss on it too much because I know content creator we've been watching recently, Slate, he got his Twitch shirts.
Oh, Slate
Go-
10 out of 10 deserves
Yes.
it.
He does. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are people that I think that are Twitch
Oh, yeah, for sure.
streamers that deserve it, like Slate. Go watch him. He's funny.
He is
And-
so hilarious.
There's so much good content, funny content. If you need a laugh,
If
you
you
need
need a
fun.
laugh,
I think that's
shorts
how
and
we've
stuff.
gotten into him. Is because like we needed fun times
Yeah.
with
He
DVD.
started popping up, and
Yeah.
I've been going to his streams, but I found him on TikTok, and I started sharing the videos with the ladies, and now like it's all over everywhere. But he is so funny.
He's so
But just a good person to watch. Nice chill stream. The way he interacts with people in the game too is just hilarious. So
But
yeah,
anyway,
And I
he
like
got his
that
shirt.
in my streamer. I like
Yeah.
someone who's going to have fun and not complain to it. And I know we complain a lot, but we're a podcast, so.
I also like somebody who sticks up for themselves. So he does.
Yeah.
Like he does, like when people are off the wall and saying really weird things, he'll break it down, and they call him the posh man.
Oh, yeah, the posh
Are you the
man.
posh man from TikTok?
Yes.
But like he's
Posh man.
somebody who would like see, my thing would be, I was like, behavior, why didn't he have shirts originally?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
who's
know who
going
gave him
out?
his code. I didn't follow
Yeah,
up on that,
But well deserved.
So I think
a
yes.
member of community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So anyway, I guess to say that this, like we've talked about, this code thing could be abused or go to people that deserve it. So
Mhm.
it's kind of and we don't also transparent. So we don't know if the Fog Whispers had to submit to behavior who they were going to give them to beforehand.
Mhm.
Does that make
Oh,
sense? You know,
true.
like we're going to
Yeah,
give
we
you
don't know
this
how it
many
works,
codes.
yeah.
Who are you going to give them to?
Mhm.
And then DVD check them out. Or if it was just totally hands off, behavior's like, here's some codes. Go have fun,
Yeah, I didn't-
kids.
Yeah, it could be a mixture. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would probably be good on behavior's part. Like, but then also, like you said, does it take the heat off of them? Like, if somebody screws up and gives them to some like person who didn't deserve it or want it or whatever.
Or
And
does
then
something absolutely awful, like
yeah, or they are like
racist
an awful
comments or,
person.
Yeah.
really bad
They're like,
things. And
well, we didn't hand it out. That person
Yeah.
did. So
Not our fault.
yeah, we didn't do that. It's up to the discretion of
Yeah.
our Fog Whispers.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring this up because I feel like it ties into the whole consultant program thing with
Yeah.
like them trying to improve their own image or protect their image. I just feel like that's kind of what they're trying to do is like,
Yeah.
we do have consultants. Look at us. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we care about this game. We're
We
we're
tested.
testing, quote
Yeah.
unquote testing it.
You guys think we didn't do that? We totally do.
all I'm saying is behavior. If you want to do the ultimate act of transparency and have one of your devs be interviewed on our podcast,
We will take you up on
we
that
are
offer.
down.
We're
We're
so
here
there.
for you.
Yeah, when are we getting Jason? The next question.
Yeah.
Is that the March one? Everyone's speculating it's March. But
Everyone
anyway.
thinks it's Jason, so maybe.
But yeah,
But,
that's all
yeah.
I'm saying.
But
We'll be
yeah, we
happy
would-
to talk to you.
I
Behavior.
know. I would love to know the process of developing a
would-
chapter
yeah.
because they've kind
So,
of given
that'd
us
be
some
so
information on that in the past with some of the Q&As. Remember they said like it took them 12 months to design a killer power.
Yes.
I really want to know if that's
Mhm.
accurate or not, or if that was misspoken.
Can you imagine doing a whole series? Behavior. I'm down for a whole series where you don't even have to tell us like what the chapter is, but a start to finish of how you guys develop something
Yeah.
and walk us
Yeah.
through the process would be so amazing. And
That would be
that's the
really
stuff we would
cool.
love to. We want to know the technical stuff. We want to know what's going on behind the scene to make
Yes.
I don't know our content more valuable too as creators. But if
Mhm.
you were to walk your community, not just saying
Mhm.
it takes 12 months, but what's it like? Well, how you start at the drawing board? Do you throw ideas together? Do you use a Venn diagram, like
Yeah.
Excel sheet? Like, how do you do that? How do you decide it? Maybe even like a mock-up. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, like in your feedback, the surveys, you do like mock-up powers and stuff. Maybe just walk us through like a mock-up, or walk us through
Yeah.
us building you one. That'd be
Yeah,
so cool.
I was gonna say, what if they did like a community one? You know, that would be really cool.
Yeah, y'all should do this behavior. Let me tell you
Yeah.
who's already doing something like this. Remedy, who makes Alan
Mhm.
Wake 2, their studio, they have been releasing live streams of how they made the game.
Mhm.
So
cool.
I'm like, that's kind of where I was like, y'all should just like, how do you develop it? It's a very different style of game, so it'd be very different
Yeah.
from what Remedy is doing with how,
That'd be
because
so
Remedy's going
cool.
through of like, they did a live stream on like how they do their sound effects and the music, and then they
Yeah.
recently had one on the Dark Place. So how did they create the environment of the Dark Place and all that? So like, yeah, like share how you come up with a killer concept. Like you can even just use the example of like original chapter because that's what you have the most control over.
Yeah.
Like how do you come up with your ideas? Do you have a list of ideas for original chapters like already made up
Yeah.
that you kind of
How do
pull
you
from?
how do you integrate it with the lore?
Yeah.
Is that part of it too? Like, are you looking at the lore? Because there's been a lot of
know.
lore stuff, and we love the lore. Are you looking at it from a story point too on introducing this to help with the lore? Like, we would love
Mhm.
that stuff. Love it. I'd eat it up.
Come talk to us, behavior.
We've got thoughts, comments, questions, concerns.
But then that'd also give everyone an idea, the player base, an idea of what goes
you work.
into the game. How long does it take? What are the steps taken? And how long does it take to make like the killer powder, the perks? Because every character has 3 perks, and like especially now that we're into the game, so far into the game with so many perks, like is it hard to come
Exactly.
up with new perk ideas,
I would
killer
think so.
powers, like even kind of answering like how game development has changed over time from the beginning of the game to now, because you have like over 30 killers
Yeah.
and more survivors. Like you have all these perks and these maps, and like what goes into map design, like what do you look at there? I think everyone would like that kind of transparency, maybe rather than doing your Q&A stuff. I mean, I'm sure the Q&A stuff is probably in some ways easier because you're just letting people send questions and you choose which questions. Whereas doing this kind of style of like explaining how you make it would be, you'd have to kind of plan for more. Apparently Remedy planned for theirs, like they filmed stuff specifically to share this later on. They knew they wanted to do that for Alan Wake 2. So they share a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, a lot of concept stuff. So,
Which is
you
cool. I
know,
love that stuff.
so like, yeah, save some of like your like concepts. Like it'd be interesting to see like, I don't know what killer, like you have one killer that came out and you're like, well, originally we were kind of thinking of like doing this and this is how it evolved over time. That
Yeah.
would be interesting to see like how that process goes.
Also, going forward from now on, anytime I post the podcast, I am going to be putting us in to be Fog Whispers using hashtag into the fog and
Let's
hashtag
do it.
share my survivor.
Oh my gosh.
Behavior, notice me.
We
I
don't
know. We should.
wait, we
should
don't
at
even
least
have a
get shirts.
Twitch.
I know. Maybe we should.
I mean, we have
We've
our
been asked.
YouTube.
You guys have been asking if we're ever gonna live stream.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're kind of pure chaos
It would be fun,
when we're
but
playing
yeah.
together.
We have to get better on schedule. That's
We
I think that's what we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about after this podcast is
Yeah.
like we need to
Yeah.
have more strict schedule, which is hard because of work. I have
And
kids.
life.
Yeah. I have
I have
parents.
y'all have pets. I have pets too. We have like a zoo over here. I have like 3
Yeah.
kids and a zoo. And and all the activities, and so not that those are bad things, but we just have to work through.
We've been very busy as human beings lately.
But-
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
some of
and,
us are caretakers, some of us help our
Yeah.
parents with stuff,
yeah.
on top of working or teaching. Friend stuff is also a lot of friends have birthdays around this time of the year too. So just life in general has been kind of hectic. So we're going to try to be more consistent,
Yeah, for sure.
but also make sure we never want this to be like a chore either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something we're
Yeah.
looking at too. Like we want to make sure that we're giving you guys what you want and that you genuinely like to listen to us because we like doing this. And we don't ever want it to feel like a chore. And when things get busy, sometimes that can happen. But we do apologize for the little bit of inconsistency.
Yeah.
Life's been very interesting lately.
Yes, we'll be more consistent. Hopefully, we'll talk about maybe the D&G chapter next. That's coming
Oh,
out
we're
this
so
week.
Yeah.
excited.
It might already be out by the
Especially
time
when-
we get this up, but
Yeah.
it's coming out
I
this
was like,
week.
once it goes live, we can play more and
Yeah,
not just what they had for PTB.
We were originally going to talk about that, and then I saw they posted changes and stuff, so I was like, maybe we'll talk about all this drama. with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
consultant. The thing with DVD, I feel like there's always something to talk about, and sometimes
Yeah.
I think it's not a good thing that they always.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wonder, here's my conspiracy theory. Do they put out bad stuff so they get talked about more?
Oh.
I sometimes
mean-
wonder.
DVD's
That-
that girl.
I mean, I'm looking at the Twins
No,
we
about
were
me,
being
girl.
like,
They create their
did
own
y'all
drama.
not think it's like the Twins
I just
rework.
think
Let
that
me,
it's just so interesting. I don't think that's them doing it on purpose, but I do think sometimes things like Cascade, and I think that's what's going on right now. Is I feel like a lot of times they try to do something to fix something else,
Yeah.
but when they do it, people are like, "What you did not fix anything. I just have more questions." And again, I think that's from not knowing their audience or timing as well. You know,
Yeah.
with the state of the community, that this might not have been the best time thing. But I feel like it was on their end something positive to be like, hey, that thing you guys have been wanting to have happen, we've already been doing it for 7 years. And then everyone's like, well, show us the proof because it doesn't feel like it.
I
think
need
it,
receipts, people.
Yes.
I think it would have been better if they would have done something with the consultant program and announced it like, hey, we're revamping our consultant program. We're going to open up more spots. We're
Yeah.
going to, like, we can't tell you everything, but we're going to revamp it and have different categories that people play test, like our killers. We're going to have a, I'm just throwing something out there. Like, we're going to have a group that's going to test killer powers, a group that's going to test survivor perks. I think if they would have announced something where they were revamping this program that's
Mhm.
already been there, I think it would have been more well received, right? Like, we've had
Yeah.
this program, but obviously there's some disconnect, and we're gonna look at it, and there you go. Like, I feel like that would may have came off better, of like, we've had this, but we're going to improve it. We're gonna make
Yeah.
it
And-
better. But that's not where they went.
Yeah, instead of being like, hey, you know what? I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like Tofu. I'm not trying to
Right.
diss Tofu, but him being like, I've been a part of this whole time, I'm like, can you explain some things? But he can't explain the things, so that's
But he
what's hard.
can't. We
He
have
can't.
questions.
It's like,
That's
that's
why,
what's
like,
hard.
we applaud people for coming out, but at the same time, like, but the questions can be answered by behavior in regards to what
But-
they have and haven't done, which I don't know if that would break like an NDA, but if it's the person who gave, I don't know how they work.
No, I think the NDA, I think the content creator or the consultants couldn't comment.
Yeah, but
I think
behavior,
behavior, they
probably
could
could.
probably talk about the program. They may, I don't know if they could say like, well, Tofu said this. They may not be able
Well, no,
to say
that's
but
what
like,
I want. But it'd be more like this is what they consulted on.
yeah,
This is their feedback. You can take names off feedback.
yeah.
And
I mean,
this is how we used it, which
Mhm.
would be like, like Morbid always said, we want the data. So give us the data. Let us
Yeah.
know what they consulted on, what the feedback was, and how you used it. That's all I would want. No names.
hopefully this was educational to everyone wondering what all these different programs are. How you
Yeah,
get
like what's
Twitch
happening?
shirts. And if you see a crow charm with the meme glasses, you will know they're a consultant. But don't hate them. Don't hate them.
Yeah. Be nice.
Don't show any hates. Complaints need to be made to behavior. It's their game. Consultants only have so much power, and it may not be any power. It's what
Same with Fog
we-
Whispers.
yeah.
No hate to Fog Whispers, because right now I
No.
feel like there's this consultant program versus Fog Whisper thing going on. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of like hurt within the community.
Yeah, and I mean,
Positivity, guys. Let's
Yeah.
spread some love and positivity in the fog.
yeah, I can imagine like some of the fog whispers. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, well, we obviously talked about spooky, but like if I was a fog whisperer, I'd feel kind of hurt.
I would
being
feel
like,
kind of hurt.
like, oh, you've had this program and I wasn't worthy enough. I wasn't good enough to be considered. And they just need to treat their fog whisperers equally, like Spooky talked about with Lights Out, where they only let some of the fog whisperers play. Like, just treat all your fog whisperers equally. Show them all love. You know, if you're going to give some of them early access to a new game mode or modifier, give it to all of them.
Yeah, rotate it.
That
Yeah.
and if there's only 60, you got to think there's 5 people in the match, right? So it's really not that many groups of people playing, if that makes sense.
Exactly. It's so
Like
small.
it's still a small group of people, because you have to have a killer and 4 survivors. So it's not really even that many people, that many matches being recorded. So yeah, give them all love, behavior. Well,
'cause we love them.
yes, go support your content
do.
creator, your fog whisperer consultant, if you know. You may or may not know that part, but yeah, love for the content creators, right?
Yes.
Do we have any other thoughts? We can wrap
I'm
it up.
thought out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about an hour and 40 minutes of thoughts.
Well,
Nice.
yeah, we're gonna have to cut. We'll fix that in post, as Spooky says.
Right.
We'll see.
Fix it in post.
You know what? No one's been complaining about the long podcast. I think you just like to hear our voices, guys, and it's okay. You can
True.
admit it.
Hey, and if you're like me, you like to like throw that on if you go into work, like sometimes, and you don't work remotely. It's great.
Cleated the
Sit
house.
in traffic. Yeah,
long
doing whatever.
drives. We're here
Hanging
for you.
out. Yeah.
4-hour podcast next. We got you.
Okay.
And you're the mocking's like no.
She's
Gosh.
like, no.
I'm the one that's editing, y'all. Like,
Yeah. Shout
I
out
know.
to mocking.
Our editor in chief
Yeah.
until we learn how to do it.
what I need to do is teach y'all.
We have
Teach
to,
other
yeah,
way.
we have to have like a crash course in editing.
Classes.
Well, I taught myself, so I can't say
There you go.
too much.
All right.
But
we can wrap
Queen,
it up, I guess.
Yeah, Queen.
Yeah.
Queen.
All right.
Get it.
Oh,
Take us out.
Yeah, take us out. Thank you, Morbid. I'm
got
like brain
this.
dead now.
and we want to wish you a good good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and bye.
Bye. Bye.